Well, good morning. Welcome to Thursday's edition of Daily Videos with me, Pastor Michelle. So let's begin with some prayer. This is from Molly Basquette, a clergy woman. And it's prayer for worship leaders wondering if people will come back. And I do wonder that too, when we do go back to face-to-face. Great Maker, we've adapted, pivoted, leapfrogged our way to virtual church. We're down to under 10 glitches a Sunday. People love it, and I do too. Those old couples cuddled and peering into the screen, those Zoom bombing 6-year-olds making silly faces. There is a gift in this brave new church. In some ways, we are closer to each other, closer to you, and more creative as a people. Yet still I fear the cursor, the tech tribulations, the pixelated watchers. How can people be so late, even to online church? I dance faster and brainstorm better and edit longer, trying to make all things new every week so they don't get bored. What if they wander off after a more fetching online community? What if they forget their longing to be bodies in space together, the beauty and power of the Christ incarnate? What if, when all this is over, they're still afraid to come back? What if this is it? Remind me again that wherever two or more are gathered in your name, you are there among us. You make the faith new in every generation. You are not done with us yet. Remind me when I go overboard with new product development that there is power too, Rosie, in repetition and familiarity. Sorry, I'm still petting. Great Maker, you rested on the 7th day, and I can too. And so I've been filming these ahead of time. And so, you ready for Michelle's thoughts of the day? So it is currently a Wednesday as I'm filming these ahead of time. It's the week before. And I'm choosing to just be resting on one of my days off, and that's a dog. It's a concept I practice. So anyway, it's important to rest. My thought of the day is just the importance of taking time to take care of yourself. And another thought that has nothing to do with that is the fact that at the end of the day, the only person that we can actually completely have say over and really is ourselves. And I say that because sometimes you get upset with people because they're not living up to your necessarily expectations, or you get frustrated with people. And at the end of the day, I think it's important to recognize that we don't have power over other people. We only have power over ourselves. And that's a statement that I feel like it needs to be said. And so I say it. I don't know exactly where I was going with that. So I think this pandemic has my mind just totally right? Anyone else feeling that right now? But that's just my thoughts. My thoughts for this Thursday is that, take care of yourself, and rest when you feel tired. Eat when you feel hungry. It's common sense stuff, but it's important. So, let's pray. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debtors as we forgive our debts. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. So, good segue. Feed yourself when you're hungry. Now we're into Katniss and Peeta have won the Hunger Games. So let's see what happens now. I spew the berries from my mouth, wiping my tongue with the end of my shirt to make sure no juice remains. Peeta pulls me to the lake where we both flush our mouths with water and then collapse into each other's arms. You didn't swallow any? I ask him. He shakes his head. You? Guess I'd be dead by now if I did. I can see his lips moving in reply, but I can't hear him over the roar of the crowd in the Capitol that they're playing live over the speakers. The hovercraft materializes overhead and 2 ladders drop. Only there's no way I'm letting go of Peeta. I keep one arm around him as I help him up, and we each place a foot on the first rung of the ladder. The electric current freezes us in place, and this time I'm glad because I'm not really sure Peeta can hang on for the whole ride. And since my eyes were looking down, I can see that while our muscles are immobile, nothing is preventing the blood from draining out of Peeta's legs. Sure enough, the minute the door closes behind us and the current stops, he slumps to the floor unconscious. My fingers are still gripping the back of his jacket so tightly that when they take him away, it tears, leaving me with a fistful of black fabric. Doctors in sterile white masks and gloves, already prepped to operate, go into action. PETA so pale and still on a silver table, tubes and wires springing out of him every which way, and for a moment I forget we're out of the games, and I see the doctors as just one more threat, one more pack of mutts designed to kill him. Petrified, I lunge for him, but I'm caught and thrust back into another room, and a glass door seals between us. I pound on the glass, screaming my head off. Everyone ignores me except for some Capitol attendant who appears behind me and offers me a beverage. I slump down on the floor, my face against the door, staring uncomprehendingly at the crystal glass in my hand. Icy cold, filled with orange juice, a straw with frilly white collar. How wrong it looks in my bloody, filthy hand with its dirt-caked nails and scars. My mouth waters at the smell, but I place it carefully on the floor, not trusting anything so clean and pretty. Through the glass, I see the doctors working feverishly on PETA, their brows creased in concentration. I see the flow of liquids pumping through the tubes, watch a wall of dials and lights that mean nothing to me. I'm not sure, but I think his heart stops twice. It's like being home again when they bring in the hopelessly mangled person from the mine explosion, or the woman in her third day of labor, or the famished child struggling against pneumonia, and my mother and Prim. They wear that same look on their faces. Now is the time to run away to the woods, to hide in the trees until the patient is long gone, and in another part of the seam, the hammers make the coffin. But I'm held here by both the hovercraft walls and the same force that holds the loved ones out of the dying. How often I've seen them ringed around our kitchen table, and I thought, why don't they leave? Why did they stay to watch? All right. So, at least they're out of the arena, right? And so, my friends, let's turn our attention to John Pavlovitz. And we've got maybe 10 more of these for you. So this one today, and I like this one. So now we're into a different, little less politics perhaps, so he's just in more stuff that needs to be said. Rosie! The dogs they have an electric collar on, so. Anyway, I see it. So today, come here. Everyone around you is grieving. Go easy. I like that. So let's hear what he says. The day I learned my father died, I went to the grocery store to buy bananas. I remember thinking to myself, this is insane. Your dad just died. Why the hell are you buying bananas? But we needed bananas. We'd be waking up for breakfast tomorrow morning and there wouldn't be any bananas. So there I was. And lots of other stuff still needed doing. So over the coming days, I would navigate parking lots, wait in restaurant lines, and sit on park benches, pushing back tears, fighting to stay upright. And in general, always being seconds from a total blubbering, room clearing freak out. I wanted to wear a sign that said, I just lost my dad, please go easy. Unless anyone passing by looked deeply into my bloodshot eyes or noticed the occasional break in my voice and thought enough to ask. It's not like they'd have known what was happening inside me or around me. They wouldn't have had any idea the gaping sinkhole that had just opened up and swallowed the normal life of the guy next to them in the produce section. And while I didn't want to physically wear my circumstances on my chest, it probably would have caused people around me to give me space or speak and move more carefully, and it might have made the impossible almost bearable. Everyone around you, the people you share the grocery store line with and pass in traffic, sit next to at work, encounter on social media, and see across the kitchen table, they're all experiencing the collateral damage of living. They're all grieving someone, missing someone, worried about someone. Their marriages are crumbling, or their mortgage payment is late, or they're waiting on their child's test results, or they're getting bananas 5 years after a death and still pushing back tears because the loss feels as real as it did the first day. Every single human being you pass by today is fighting to find peace and to push back fear, to get through their daily tasks without breaking down in front of the bananas or in the carpool line at the post office. Maybe they aren't mourning the sudden tragic passing of a parent, but wounded, exhausted, pain-ravaged people are everywhere every day, stumbling around us, and yet most of the time we're fairly oblivious to them. Parents whose children are terminally ill, couples in the middle of a divorce, people grieving the loss of loved ones in relationships, kids being bullied at school, teenagers who want to end their lives, people marking the anniversary of a death, parents worried about their depressed teen, spouses whose partners are deployed in combat, families with no idea how to keep the lights on, single parents with little help and little sleep. Everyone is grieving and worried and fearful, and yet none of them wears the signs. None of them have labels, and none of them come with written warnings reading, I'm struggling, be kind to me. And since they don't, it's up to you and me to look more closely and more deeply at everyone around us. Whether we're at work or at the gas station or in the produce section, we need to assume they are all just hanging by a thread, because most people are hanging by a thread, and our simple kindness can be that thread. We need to remind ourselves just how hard the hidden stories around us might be, and approach each person as a delicate, breakable, and valuable treasure, and handle them with care. As you make your way through the world today, people won't be wearing signs to announce their mourning or alert you to the attrition or broadcast how terrified they are. But if you look with the right eyes, you'll see the signs. There are grieving people all around you. So go easy. That's great. Yeah, it's a good, and it reminds me of that saying, go easy on people because everyone is fighting a battle or something. I can't remember the exact phrase, but I guess if I had a sign, and isn't that an interesting concept to think that we could all wear a sign that would say what we're feeling and what we're struggling with. It's been almost 3 years. Well, not almost, but 2.5 years since my accident. And, I still struggle with that. And I do consider it a grief, and I grieve over it because it's a loss. It was a loss of a loss, maybe not of a parent or a loved one necessarily, but it was some kind of loss, a loss of security, loss of something. And I remember how I felt after that accident, devastated. And there's still moments when I feel that devastation. And they're few and far between now, but that first year, or even into the 2 years, and I still have breakdowns. I actually have moments where I just break down and I cry. And in those moments when I grieve over everything that I should be grieving about, so I still am dealing with that. And also in regards to the pandemic that we find our world in, can I just say this? I'm scared shitless. If I'm being honest, and I try not to, I try not to dwell on it, and try not to let my fear overcome me, but I am scared. I'm scared that I'm scared of my family I'm scared of the people I love getting the virus. I'm scared of getting the virus. I'm scared that we're never going to get out of this thing. I'm scared that those things I was taught growing up about apocalyptic kind of stuff about the end times, I'm scared that what happens if they're right. It's a scary time, and it helps to just say those things out loud. So I'm scared. That's what my sign would say, I think. But regardless of what our signs say, I just know that, it's important to just go easy on one another and just to be kind to people. At the end of the day, just be kind. Be kind. And that's it. And look at people. As I like that imagery that, look around, and people are probably dealing with stuff that we don't even see, and especially right now. So anyway, those are just some of my more thoughts of the day. So have a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay safe. And whatever you're dealing with, I know life right now is hard. Hang in. And saying the word hang in there doesn't necessarily bring relief. But it's about all we can do, though, right? Just know that we're not alone. We're all kind of hanging by that thread. So much love to all of you.